This is going to be as dark as you can imagine because, health has become a business for some time. You're going to say that it's something new, but the business, let's say from 2019 and 2020 especially, from that moment to here has been really good for a big pharma. So, oh my God, preparing for pandemics. Let's discuss next steps. There are these emails between Bill Gates and Jeffrey Epstein that have been exposed, in which, let's say, please find attached a draft agenda for the meeting on preparing for pandemics as requested. And this was from 2015. All right. Let's discuss next steps. For example, how to officially involve the World Health Organization and ICRC as a co-branding. Best regards and hope we can pull this off. This is the kind of things that Bill Gates kept reaching out to Epstein for, reasons. And well, that's in 2022, Bill Gates says that Jeffrey Epstein was an evil person, but that he met with Epstein after his sexual assault conviction because of global health. It seems that everybody has an alibi or justification or an explanation of why did they kept picking up the phone when Epstein called. Why did they kept picking up the phone? Everybody has this outrageous explanation, and this is Bill Gates, I guess. I have analyzed Bill Gates a number of times in this channel, but I have never sent this video, so maybe this is going to be another body language analysis of Bill Gates.
I have to ask you about Jeffrey Epstein. Melinda mentioned that was one of the strains, your relationship with him. And
strains, okay.
Why? I guess the question is real simple. I mean, why did you continue to meet with him? When you met him, he was already a convicted sex offender.
I really had never watched this video. I don't know. Shout out to Maze Moore on X. Is the one who finds these gems out there.
And do you regret that?
I certainly made a huge mistake.
How many times have we heard that? I deeply regret. I made a huge mistake. We should play some kind of drinking game that every time somebody says some of these words, we drink a shot of tequila. We would have a cirrhosis in 15 minutes. We will have I don't know, there's something worse than that.
Not only meeting him in the first place, but I met with him a number of times. I had a goal of raising money for global health. I didn't realize that meeting with him almost downplayed the incredibly awful things he did.
I notice a shoulder shrug right there. Notice how he raises his right shoulder. He's defensive. Look at this. I'm going to play this without sound in slow motion. Pay attention to his right shoulder, how it raises. There he goes. Hey, yeah, he is very defensive about that. While he says the words, what are you saying there, Bill?
Almost downplayed
He downplayed. He's saying that he downplayed. So he's acknowledging that he knew what was, Epstein's conviction about, and he downplayed that. How can you downplay? I'm going to say the words again because it's something that we need to repeat over and over again with each one of this analysis. How can you downplay soliciting and both soliciting and giving underage soliciting and procuring underage prostitution? How do you downplay that? How does that happen? I mean, it's very easy to understand. But 3 words. You're really smart, Bill. I can't imagine you. Just again, like we saw with the this lady from Norway. Said, oh yeah, I googled you. It didn't look at that well at first, but no, don't mind. That prostitution is something normal around the people that I hang out with. I guess it's something that they saw prostitution as normal. And underage, how much underage? What exactly are we talking about underage? It was illegal. What is the consent age in that jurisdiction? Who knows? Maybe this guy is a good guy. Maybe he was only I don't know, This was a misconception here.
Incredibly awful things he did. I learned more about that over time, but
I learned that more over time. Again, that is the exact same thing that Brian Johnson said. That is the exact same thing that Peter Attia said. Oh, it was over time. And we know, for example, that Peter Attia lied because he said that, oh, it was only because of that Miami Herald piece on 2019 that I discovered how evil he was. And he immediately emailed him to see if there was any repercussions, legal repercussions, because of the Miami Herald article. Again, this is the kind of people that we're dealing with.
I'd add that to the list of big mistakes, including, where Melinda's advice was sound and I should have followed it sooner than I did.
And you never saw anything where you thought, this doesn't feel right. Melinda kind of had a visceral reaction the first time she met him.
It's not about, this is not about body language. Melinda could have had a visceral reaction. Maybe Melinda was not the one who should have Googled the guy. Maybe Melinda did Google the guy afterwards, and when she found out, you don't need to have, okay, let me have this, let me use my intuition. No, you just go to Google where you search everything. It's very easy. And you put the name of the guy. Maybe you can do that for anybody that you're going to meet to make sure what kind of people you're going to meet, and you Google them. And you find a bit more about them, and maybe you're going to search for the news about them, and maybe you can have a surprise. Maybe you can have a surprise, and maybe that can save a lot of headaches along the way, even if you want to save the world and you can want a healthier world with, preparing for pandemics, That's what he was thinking?
No, he was a bad person.
Another shoulder shrug in there, right there. You see it, right? This time from single shoulder shrug from the left one. It's so hard to miss. There it is. Oh yeah, he's a bad person. He was a bad person, and he raises that shoulder as in, oh my God, I cannot emphasize that he was a bad person because I am digging my hole more and more.
No, he was a bad person, and I had a reason that I thought those meetings would lead to something good, but I shouldn't have done them.
Yeah, he was a bad person. I shouldn't have done those meetings, and that's it. That's how you get off of the hook. Right? That's simple, right? There's nothing to see here. We can move along. And so again, I want to share with you. This is important. We need to see this post by Sayer G. The DOJ just released thousands of pages of Epstein files, and buried inside them may be one of the biggest bombshells no one is talking about. The blueprint for a 20-year financial architecture designed to turn pandemics into a profit center. And we know how much COVID-19 was profitable. We're talking about billions, if not trillions of dollars. Offshore vaccine funds, pandemic reinsurance triggers, donor-advised fund structures designed to profit under the cover of charity, simulation programs, career pipelines into pharma and the World Economic Forum. All built years before COVID-19. All running through Gates, JP Morgan, and Epstein. Remember that JP Morgan was also involved in one of the stories that we were talking about, this story that I analyzed of Jeffrey Epstein that was fake. Yeah, he was tied to JP Morgan anyway. So, offshore arm for vaccines. This is the bombshell number one. In August 2011, Jeffrey Epstein emailed Mary Erdoes, CEO of JP Morgan's $2 trillion asset management division, outlining a Gates-linked donor-advised fund. His instruction, you're not going to believe it, back in 2011, however, we should be ready with an offshore arm, especially for vaccines. All right. The CEO of JP Morgan Asset Management didn't flag complaints. She asked for answers before the 31st. She got them the same night from a convicted sex offender. So, yeah, nothing to see here with that conviction. Number two, the quiet part out loud. Same month, same email chain. Epstein writes to Stanley and Erdoes. The tension is making money from a charitable org. Therefore, the money-making parts needs to be arm's length. The architect of this structure convicted of sex crimes against minors is explicitly acknowledging that the vehicle is designed to generate profit under the legal cover of charity. Now, this is the kind of things that are not that hard in finance terms, but Epstein was very good at. He was very good at crafting this kind of schemes. And of course, that and the pseudo psychobabble that he used on people, he looked way smarter than he really was. Bombshell number 3, pandemic as an investment category. May 2017, 3 years before COVID-19, Boris Nikolic, Bill Gates' chief science and technology advisor, you remember that he was the one asking for photos of girls naked from Epstein's island, right? Emails Epstein and Gates about donor advice, funds, and rights. It might be a great path forward for some key areas such as energy, pandemic, etc. Pandemic listed like energy, a standing investment vertical, not an emergency, a portfolio strategy. So yeah, this was about profits. Profits for what? You know that more money, you can guarantee more stuff for, let's say that's kind of a ladder. You win some steps, then you can, let's say, do more and more things down the way. Bombshell number 4, the parametric trigger in January 2017. An iMessage thread from Epstein's phone. An associate lists career options and one stands out. Join Swiss reinsurance team developing health products. Did one for pandemics, help develop parametric trigger. It kept talking about pandemics 2 years before COVID-19. These people knew something. These people absolutely knew something. And also, Gates requested Epstein in writing. This was more just than just hanging out. Bill Gates was actively asking for Epstein. In 2013, 5 years after Epstein's conviction, an agreement letter addressed to William H. Gates states that Gates specifically requested that Jeffrey Epstein, quote, personally serve as the representative, quote, of Boris Nikolic. All right? Gates waives conflicts of interest, provides broad indemnification in writing. He had access to every law firm, every advisor, every institution on earth. He chose a registered sex offender and put it on paper. This is the kind of stuff that we are talking about. These people are evil. This is the too long didn't read. These people are evil. No other way to describe it. The question you are not supposed to ask. Nobody builds a fire station after the fire. What these documents reveal is a fire station built beside a factory that stores accelerants owned by the same people who wrote the building code. Patents, simulations, reinsurance triggers, offshore vehicles, career pipelines, all operational before COVID-19. The timing couldn't have been more perfect. The question isn't whether they plan a pandemic. The question is, what structural safeguard existed to ensure they didn't profit from one? That is an excellent question. And make sure that to follow Sayer G on an X. This is the one who wrote this amazing thread. Amazing thread. So this is the kind of stuff that we need to understand. This is the kind of people that we are dealing with. And just to say that close this topic, thanks to Tony Hightspeed, Bill Gates posted this advertisement to vaccine buyers 1 month before COVID. All right, this was in 19 of December 19. Interesting. What did Bill post? What's next for our foundation? I'm particularly excited about what the next year could mean for one of the best buys in global health vaccines. All right, so that is interesting. That is interesting, but again, oh my God, it's a lot of a couple more things here. I think we can skip this one. So for this moment, there's a lot to unpack. But I would like to know what do you think about this in the comments, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna be very eloquent about this. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Body Language Guy. Much love.